I mean, it's happened several times in this past game. Whenever there's a set of downs at the goal line, how much does the intensity for you raise as the defensive play caller when you know it's do or die at that situation?
Yeah, the intensity is very high in those moments. You know, it's something we always talk about. Just give us a blade of grass to stand on, and we have to stand up and make plays there. And it's just a credit, really, to our defensive line. It all starts with them, the way they set the tone of resetting the line of scrimmage, giving our second-level guys a chance to, shoot through and make plays. And so it's all about those guys up front, and the way they set the tempo for us. And, guys did a fantastic job, on Sunday of making those plays and not blinking. That was the cool part about it. No matter what adversity we faced there early in the game, nobody blinked, nobody worried, what was going to happen. Everybody just took it upon themselves to go out and make plays to put us in a good position to win the game.
That defensive line, Eric Armstead made a nice tackle down there early on. Have you seen, since he's started playing defensive tackle predominantly, have you seen him getting better and better each week and he's gotten used to that role?
Yeah, since we've moved Eric inside, he's definitely gotten better each week. Each week you see his game just increase. He's making more and more plays inside. Feel like he's continuing to be the dominant player he was on the outside. He's just as dominant inside now. So it's just a matter of him just getting comfortable anytime you change positions there, doing something different, a little bit different technique, different footwork. It takes time to develop that, and it takes time to really, take off with it. And Eric has done that. He's done it in a fairly, short time. He's done really well with it, and I continue to see him, doing better. So I'm happy with what Eric has done inside, and it gave us a chance to really play better against the run, having Eric inside.
Tennessee has been committed to the run for the last few years, much like you guys are, except for they've done it with one guy. And then that one guy went down, and they're still running it. What are they doing that enables them to do that?
Yeah, I think it's just the mentality, right, of their head coach. They want to be physical. They want to establish a ground presence, and it doesn't change no matter who's been in for them. I know they've been dealing with a lot of injuries, guys in, guys out, but it doesn't matter. Their mentality is, starting with their O-line, they want to push you around, right? They want to run the ball. They want to be physical. That's their mindset, and it hasn't changed. No matter which running back is back there, you can tell they all have that same mindset that they want to run the ball, they want to be physical. So it's going to be a really good challenge for us against a really good running offense.
Is that a good opponent for a short week in that, hey, line up and play, we have to beat the guy in front of us. Maybe it's not as complicated as other game would be.
Yeah, I think that's the kind of ball you get into. The more, you keep playing in December, you're playing meaningful ball. I think that's the type of ball games you play in. It's going to be, it's going to be run game heavy, guys not trying to make mistakes offensively, not trying to, turn the ball over, and defensively, like, can you be sound and detailed in your assignments? And just it's going to be may the best team win at that point. But it's not a lot of tricking going on. It's just line up and see who can be who.
Has Ambry Thomas played well enough to hold on to his starting job?
Yeah, Ambry has done some good things for us. I think he's still a young player. I think it was Ambry's second game at corner, one of the toughest positions to play on the defense. So young guy out there, he's done some good things for us, some encouraging things. He just has to keep growing, keep getting better.
We can see how he does on the field. How has he been behind the scenes when you talk to him? What are those conversations like?
Yeah, Ambry's been fine. I think I've seen a difference in him with his confidence level. I think he's fine mentally. He's been doing a really good job. Great job in the meetings, great job in practice. So I can tell that he's definitely moving in the right direction, becoming a pro. He's doing a much better job for us, and I'm encouraged with where he is now. He just has to continue to keep growing, go challenge guys, don't back down, keep challenging guys, keep fighting to make plays.
I'm gonna try again. Will he start Thursday?
Say that again?
Will Ambry Thomas start Thursday?
We'll see.
Coach, going back to a couple of weeks ago and on Sunday, we talked about how important it was for your defense to make this their home to truly take advantage of being with their fans. And on Sunday, I got to see Jimmy Ward kind of get up and, chat it up with his fans. Do you feel like they finally have that home field advantage, like that energy's finally there?
Oh, for sure. I think the energy in our stadium here at Levi Stadium has been outstanding. And it's also a credit to the way we've played. Yeah, I think that's it. Fans need something to cheer for. So, it all starts with our guys, offensively, defensively, special team guys making plays. That's what gets the fans excited. So we just had to stand up in our home turf and make plays, give the fans something to be excited about, give them that pride they have in our team. We had to allow them to be able to do that, and I think that's what we've done over the past couple of weeks. And now we feel the energy from the crowd. You feel guys making plays, and it's a totally different atmosphere than it was in the beginning of the year. So we definitely appreciate our fans for representing, being loud as possible, making Levi's a tough place to play in.
On Armstead's stop at the goal line, Kevin Givens knocked back the center. Does that stop happen without what Kevin Givens does? And he's a guy we don't talk as much about. How has he been coming along this year?
Kevin's been coming along really well. That's what Kevin does really well is disrupt. You see the play he made versus the Minnesota Vikings when he he shot through and he forces a fumble there, creates a turnover for us. Like Kevin does a really good job of penetrating, getting in, playing on the other side of the line of scrimmage, and that's no different from the play he made on the goal line with Kevin, Eric, Bosa, all those guys penetrating. That's what allowed us to make that play.
What's Bosa like in meetings when you guys are going over film, whether it's the past game and he's getting a sack or maybe looking ahead and seeing opportunities for the upcoming game?
Yeah, Bosa, he's the same as he always is. Bosa's just he's quiet. He's always locked in to meetings, quiet guy, but he's still very detailed in what he does. He's a very smart player, and he knows what he's doing, and probably one of the most detailed rushers I've ever been with, and he's just constantly always around the quarterback, and that's I'm happy to have him on our team. And I think I said it before last week, but every week, he is productive as anybody in the league, and to do that coming off an ACL injury, it's unheard of, and definitely should have some type of promotion for whether it's comeback player of the year, defensive player of the year. Like Bosa definitely deserves that from what he went through last year, being out of ball, coming back from a really tough injury to come back for him and to be better. It says a lot about him, and it's very impressive.
We get the impression sometimes that he's not telling you everything he knows. Because it seems like sometimes he'll come out with something, whoa, okay, you were paying attention.
Oh, I know. That's why I said Bosa is a very smart guy. He's calculates. He takes everything in. He listens, and he wants to be better. Right? He always is looking for that information to be better. And Bosa is a very, very smart guy. He's definitely listening, paying attention to everything that we give him.
For you, what are your favorite Christmas traditions?
Favorite Christmas tradition is really just Christmas Eve. A family normally gets together and we all just get gifts from everyone. That was one cool part about growing up. It's just whether it was a pair of socks, a toothbrush, candy, like everybody was able to get something from grandma, aunts, uncles, cousins, everybody just being there together, sharing that time and that moment with family. That was the most special part about Christmas for us. Don't get that much time nowadays to do it, but favorite memory is just being around my family during that time.
And just going back to the Bosa question, does he ever open up to you about potential frustration on certain calls? Because when he comes in here and we ask him, he's kind of like, I'm not going to talk about it, I'm not going to get fined. Does he open up to you about that? Do you give him any advice on how to just keep his head cool?
No, he's not. He doesn't open up to me about that. It's not been an issue. He just has to keep going, keep working like he's working, and we'll be just fine.
Arden Key and his effectiveness at defensive tackle. Has that been season long, or was there a point where he started playing more of those pass rush situations there?
Yeah, I think Arden's progressively gotten better, and he's proven to us that he can go in and be an effective pass rusher. for us, and he's, man, the past couple of weeks, I don't know if it's been every week, but he's consistently hitting the quarterback. And when you do that, that just gives us more confidence to give him more opportunities to go out and rush the passer, and that's what he's been doing. I think Arden is having a career year, the most sacks he's ever had in his career. So I'm so happy for him to be able to have the type of year that he's having. I'm proud of the way that he works, proud of what he's doing on Sundays for us.
Is there a coaching point? Is there anything you can do to avoid the kind of call that went against him last week?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. You just have to tell the guys, just have to be careful with how everybody's sensitive with the quarterback, so you have to be very careful with how you're landing on the quarterback, how you're hitting the quarterback. You just have to be very conscious as a rusher, and it's hard because first, it's so hard to get there, and then when you get there, now you have to think about, well, how am I landing on him? Did I hit him too hard? It's hard. It's definitely the game is changing in that way, which is tough on players.
The role, like, is that
Yeah, you just have to teach them. We understand that we can't put our full body weight on the quarterback when we're taking him to the ground, so we have to kind of roll off to the side when we are taking him to the ground. All right, thank you, guys.
For today, Greenlaw won't practice. Elijah Mitchell won't practice. Maurice Hurst won't practice. Huff, we're still trying to evaluate him to see if he can. Aziz will be limited, and Tart will be limited. Go ahead.
John said on the radio today that Mitchell might be a little bit better going forward than you guys thought. Is that correct?
Yes, it's true. Yeah, he had some encouraging things happen this weekend.
What kind of, is the 5:30 practice? I assume it's pretty dark at that point. How are you going to actually practice physically today?
Because of the sun not being out?
Yeah.
We're going to all hold our iPhones up. No, we're going to go in the stadium. We got lights in there. So we're just walking through, so they don't get mad at us for messing the field up.
How is everyone feeling today, a couple of days after that win, but now with your focus to Tennessee?
It seemed good. I mean, guys seemed energetic in the meetings. There's so much to put in such a small amount of time that we see them in the meetings. I see them quickly, then we all break up, and they're all just cramming stuff in. And I'll see them out here for our first walkthrough in a little bit, and we'll come back in, have another meeting, and then go out for a longer walkthrough later tonight.
This is a really random question, but somebody wanted to know, how long did Deebo Samuel practice before becoming the quarterback?
How long did before we move him there? He made a hell of a play, but did that guy who asked that question see him throw the ball?
We did.
It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't very good either. But Deebo can do anything he works at, so I'm sure one day he'll get his opportunity.
1 week where Ayuk is running a play where he might have a chance to throw it. Next week Deebo does. Do those two guys have a back and forth, kind of lobbying you to get a chance to do something like that?
They all do. That's what they do every week and every year. Juwan had one early in the year, and none of them had done great on him so far. So, but none of them were great looks either. But we'll keep trying to work at that. Sanu's got the best track record because he's been doing it for a long time with it.
How's Trent Cannon?
Trent Cannon's doing good. He was in the meeting today. Got to see him first time in a little bit. But it sounds like he's doing a lot better. Still in the protocol and stuff, but just his health and how he's feeling seems pretty good.
Carl, there was on that, I think Kittle's first catch, the screen, you had a really nice, I guess it's a seal block. But anyway, is that the type of block either like technique-wise, wouldn't make or capable of making like earlier in the season, or effort-wise, or I mean, is that like an example of, okay, that's better?
Yeah, that was all three of those guys. That was a hard block to execute. It was when we were backed up. We hadn't done anything yet, so we needed them to take some pressure off us with that play. We had switched the splits a bunch during the week trying to get it right, and those guys, they had the easy look down, but that was the hard look. And that was just from getting some reps in. Those guys listened to what they did good, what they did bad, and it was him and Juwan who were on it because that was very tight. And I thought the defense played it pretty good, but if they were a half second off Juwan or Ayuk, Kittle would have taken a pretty big hit in the backfield.
Both of Tennessee's safeties seem to be putting up a good year. What particular challenges do they present your offense?
I mean, their whole defense, just as a whole, we haven't seen them for a few years, and it's not just their defense, it's their whole team. They're extremely physical. Starts with their front seven, with their D-line and their linebackers, but then it goes all the way back to their back end. They're both safeties that they come up, are very good tacklers. They don't make many mistakes, and they got real good ball skills that'll make you pay, too.
Henry Thomas, what have you seen from him? And, I know at that position, whenever you get beat, that's what people talk about. What's his mindset? How does he take those kind of adverse plays?
That's what I've been most impressed with him about in these last 2 weeks. Sometimes it takes guys a little bit of time, and you don't always have time in the NFL, but not every single guy, right when they get drafted, no matter where it is ready to play right away. And I thought it did hurt him missing his last year of college with COVID, coming in here, not getting into OTAs, and getting used to football at the same time, getting used to NFL football. And those preseason games, I think, were a little bit of shock to him and some of our other guys. And then he didn't get an opportunity for a while, and when he did, you could tell that he had learned from what he had done earlier. It didn't look like a shock to him. By no means nothing was perfect. Got beat a couple times, had some penalties. But his body language, his demeanor, he kept competing, kept trying to be physical. And by watching him and how he was moving, you couldn't tell. He wasn't looking to hide, looking to get off. He was competing.
Do you think that having the work that you do with him, with defense back coaches do with him, up to this point has made him more equipped to handle that than if he'd just been thrown into the fire early in the season?
Yeah, because I don't think he was ready. I think we learned that in preseason. So that's why we tried to give him more time, and you don't always get that when injuries happen. Fortunately, we were able to bring some veterans off the street who had done it, which bought us some more time. And the good thing about him was the experience that he got in preseason. I think he was honest with himself. Some guys will fight you and just think of excuses, and it's your fault for telling me I'm not ready or something like that. And he wasn't like that. He kept working, didn't get discouraged, and guys stayed with him after. He's did a lot of work in the weight room. It always is with me how hard they go on the scout team, because we watch all those reps, and even though they think they're playing a different coverage and stuff, that's some of the stuff I watch the hardest, because I'm watching the offense too, and I get to evaluate them there. That's where I started to notice Mosley the most his first year. So just taking advantage of all that stuff and knowing that when he did get his opportunity, he was going to be ready. And yeah, he still got a long way to go and still got to get better. But when he did get it, he was much more ready to play and help us out.
I think that Week 8 game in Chicago was the first one where Nick did a lot of, moving side to side. I think it was the first one where Eric Armstead played a lot inside. Was there did something happen in the game before that against Indianapolis that told you guys, okay, we need to make some changes moving forward on the defensive line?
Yeah, I think it was not holding out the hope that D would come. Because, D, when he was out there and healthy, he was effective on that side. And then we could have our two best pass rushers there on the edges and then move Armstead inside just on third down and allow him to really work on the outside on first and second down. And once we kind of realized D wasn't going to be there, and Kinlaw, we'll put in him on IR and stuff, and we knew it was going to be tough to hold up if Eric wasn't inside predominantly. So we made that change so he could get better at it, and we could use one of our best players there and then start getting the other guys more consistent on the outside. And it's also when it made it easier to move Bosa around.
Tennessee managed to keep their running game strong even without Henry. They're not used to using a lot of backs like you guys are, and then to lose a guy of that stature.
Yeah, you would think, when you lose a player like that, you turn the tape, it's going to look different. But you can tell that's their philosophy. They commit to the run. They think they run the ball, call more runs than anyone in the NFL. And in almost all situations, they'll do it on third down too, first and second. Doesn't really matter the down and distance. They'll do it when they're behind. It's what they believe in, and that's why they've been hard to beat these few years, especially even with injuries. When they had it with Pittsburgh. They dominated that game, and then they turned it over a couple times three times in the fourth quarter, which I can relate to. It's tough to win games when you do that, but they got a good formula where they play real good defense, they run the ball, and when they don't turn it over, that's when they've won more games than most teams here the last few years.
Take three more. Well, these similar, I guess all NFL teams want to be physical and dominate and all that, but I guess they're kind of ethos or whatever, maybe it's because of Vrabel's, old linebacker. But are they similar to you in that they want to punish you and do those things as far as the run game and all that?
Yes, it's very obvious. In all three of their phases, they kind of take on the same mentality, and it's I'm sure it's a lot like how Mike played, but you can see it at all spots. Does a real good job of it, no matter who's there.
Kyle, I got your favorite kind of question, a holiday question for you, and it's a two-parter. What are your favorite Christmas traditions, and do you have any wishes for the coming new year?
My favorite is I always read my kids the night before Christmas, which was more fun when we were younger. Now it kind of just becomes laugh at daddy when he doesn't pronounce the words right or something. But that's a good tradition for us. And what was the other question?
Your wishes for 2022.
That we're still playing football longer than a week into it.
Kyle, you talked about the importance of sleep for your players. What is your sleep schedule like on a week like this?
Not the best, but that's more for to regenerate your muscles. I don't have any, so I don't have to worry about it. Just so you get your legs back and everything, you recover. Coaches, we get to sleep on the plane on our way out there, and I'll take cramming 4 days in. You can do whatever in 4 days if you get 3 days off, so we're not complaining about it as coaches.
Was it a couple of years ago? I think it was the Thursday nighter in Arizona where you said you just basically stayed in your office during the week because it's so condensed.
Yep, that's what we usually do. Some people do it a lot, but I usually just only do it on Thursday night games.
You sleep here.
Do I look like I did?
You smell like it.
Yes, but that's nothing special. Most of us do. We got to. Good? All right, guys.
Make sure you subscribe.